everything.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. I knew him when he's handing out flyers. He was a street barker for the Boston Comedy Club. He was in a poncho handing out fucking flyers. 2 for 1. Come see live comedy tonight. Do you guys want to see like those guys? Yeah. Like I knew him when he was that.
Yeah.
And he said, "I want." And we were friends pre-go. I used to drive to Seal Beach with him to go play basketball with guys that took.
You guys didn't overlap at all because you don't.
No, we didn't work together.
I guess you probably shot some nights together, but you didn't have no scenes together.
No.
You were probably that horrible parking lot at the Santa Monica airport, which was like the bane of our existence.
The one that we reshot 3 times.
3 times.
You kept getting rain in the camera.
Yeah.
Fake rain in your Anton camera.
Go was a tough movie to shoot, and I learned a lot just shooting it, but also learned like not to write movies that are set entirely outdoors at night because that just killed us.
Who had to read for that movie?
Almost everybody read for that movie. The only people I think who got.
That's how hot I was back in the day.
Yeah.
I actually was offered, which one of these roles would you like to play? Oh, those are the days, John August.
Piven had to read.
Who?
Jeremy Piven.
Oh, he didn't get it, though.
No,
I was like, who did he play?
I think everybody
He was the Miata.
He was the Miata. He played the Miata.
I would say on Twitter, once a week, someone will just tweet, "It's a Miata!"
Yeah.
Exclamation point, exclamation point,
God bless
exclamation
the
point.
Miata. That's another reference that doesn't hold up so well now because there aren't Miatas now. So people don't understand like what that car was. I think they crushed them all when they were done. Everyone read. Katie read.
Sarah didn't read.
Sarah didn't read, but she was in Canada.
And her and Doug, did they wind up dating?
They did wind up dating for a while. Yeah, because I remember I wasn't sure they were dating, but then we wrapped Sarah. Like she shot all her stuff, and suddenly she's like hanging around set. I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm like,
because they both they're such rebels with causes.
Yeah,
they are like kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Doug's the briefcase that the guy in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square is holding.
Yes, absolutely.
She's the guy.
Yeah.
Doug
is probably in the tank because he built it himself.
I don't even know how I got in the tank. I'm in the tank. He is truly one of the more crazy people I've ever worked with, but he's an absolute genius. And the explanation to bring you up to speed, I'm sorry to backtrack, was when you're around like in Eastwood or there's certain like directors that are brilliant and there's just a light and everything's illuminated when you're like you get it. Doug has that light, but it's more like a laser. Where if you're in that laser light, you're bathed in fucking other level Mensa brilliance. But if you're just to the side, you're just looking at a crazy person with food on his face.
Yeah. I love Doug. And
we all love Doug. What's not to love?
But it can be frustrating because Doug has that quality of sort of like the serial killer in like a serial killer movie or like a psycho movie, like where you knock them down, they pop back right up and keep walking. And that you needed that for Go because we just kept getting knocked down and again and again and again. But you're also, when you need to stop him, it was very tough because he had the camera on his shoulder the whole time. So when I would need to have a conversation about like why the scene wasn't working, it would have to do like to him and while he had the camera on his shoulder, like in front of the actors.
Yeah, Doug Lyman, for everybody listening, is his own camera operator and his own director of photography. So most of Go, which really is not supposed to work out, is that one guy holding one camera, holding a China ball of light, like those lanterns outside sushi bars. That's how he's lighting the whole scene, just following you around with that. And when you watch Go, it doesn't look different from like Ghost Whisperer, which took all day to light a fucking ghost from a crane on the back lot of Universal Studios. So when you work with a guy like Doug, you go, well, why are these DPs taking all day to light? I watched Doug Lyman walk around with a flashlight, a bug light, and a China ball. Yeah. And I remember he said one of the best things when we were getting our wires put on us in the scene before we go undercover. We were in that like shitty, dingy bathroom like in Venice. Yeah. It was like just a public men's room. And he goes,
getting ready for your crotch shot?
Yeah, I think it was Scott's crotch shot. And well done, I might add.
Yeah.
Very well done, sir. Very Sticky Fingers, Rolling Stones album cover, well played. He goes, okay, we're ready to go? We're all ready to go. It's going to be great. And you're in like this dark, dank, and usually, as you know from shooting other films, it takes forever to light everything. And I go, well, isn't it really dark in here? And Doug goes, yeah, it's great. Like he was so excited that he was shooting in the dark. Yeah. And when you watch the movie, you would have and I don't know how much of that is done in post.
But how many times did we reshoot that scene? I mean, that was the weird thing with Go.
We didn't reshoot that.
That was only one time. There were a lot of times where like we would shoot it once and like, oh, that didn't work, we'll shoot it again. Oh, that didn't work, we'll shoot it again. And And
So
Doug,
as an actor, you think it's because like not that good a performance.
no,
You have no idea that.
there's nothing on the film.
Yeah, I didn't know
like
that
it didn't
until
work.
you just said that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
No, it was almost never about performance. It was all about like we couldn't actually there wasn't enough stuff to use. And to his credit, Doug's philosophy was he wants to aim for like 80%, but like get through things much faster. And then if we have to go back and reshoot stuff, we'll reshoot it. And
It's almost a Marine mentality. A good plan now is way better than a great plan later.
yeah, yes,
And I always thought it was like guerrilla warfare the way we shot. We were in that liquor store in Venice with no permits,
nothing.
and cops start circling. And that's when Doug came in, and he couldn't get the performance out of Scott and I. And Scott and I had no idea what he was talking about. And he said, "Let's say you're a gorilla," but he doesn't know you're a gorilla. But I mean, you look like a gorilla, but you've never said "Hey, I'm a gorilla." And he just kept going on and on. And Scott kept going "I don't know." And finally, I pulled Scott aside and said, "If you ask him one more question, I'm going to fucking punch you in the face in front of this entire crew. Just do it." And we did it. And he goes, "See, you guys are gorillas."
Yeah,
And that's really Doug.
That's
he does
Doug.
get the performance out of you.
Yeah,
if you just act like you're following his direction.
Yeah, if he'd given you the one sentence or if he said faster, that doesn't mean you could do it.
Right.
It's when a director gives you 5 minutes worth of stuff.
You're a gorilla.
Yeah.
He actually said that to me. I wasn't joking.
Yeah.
He told me I was a gorilla, and Scott thinks I'm a gorilla, but he's not sure. There's a scene where two lovers find out they're cheating on each other,
Yeah.
and they're kind of hashing it out while they're buying liquor.
Yeah.
That's the scene.
All that's happening.
This could be fun, but do it as gorillas.
Yeah.
And that's how it went.
Yeah.
How do you?
And we lost the sound for that sequence. Of course, the sound fell out of sync. Yeah, so we faked it all afterwards.
So everything went wrong.
Everything went wrong.
And that's why it went so right.
Yeah, of course.
Don't you miss those days?
I do miss those days.
Charlie's Angels, Corpse Bride,
Yeah.
Willy Wonka and the Charlie Factory, which we'll get to, because that's got to be almost like a burden to have to write perfection.
Oh, but it was great. I mean, that was a dream project. Loved
But
it.
how do you? Because I asked Koppelman, with Ocean's 13, it's the tablet is there.
Yeah.
So you're just sort of are you just putting in different colors?
I had never seen the.
Forgive
Gene
my
Wilder version.
analogies.
No, sorry. I'd never seen the Gene Wilder version.
What?
Yeah, which was such a blessing. So I got to go in fresh. And so I loved the Roald Dahl book. And I remember I'd written to Roald Dahl when I was in 3rd grade. And he wrote me back a postcard, which I'd still held on to. And so it was fate. It was destiny. I was supposed to totally do it. And so Tim Burton, the longest meeting I've ever had with Tim Burton is about 15 minutes. And he said, we want to do Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I want everything from the book and as much else as you need so it all makes sense. I'm like, okay. And so I pitched him back the father backstory. He's like, that sounds great.
Do you think if you had seen the Gene Wilder, you would not have gotten the job?
It would have messed me up because it would have thought of I would have compared what we were doing to what they were doing.
Constantly, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So that's why I said lose, because I had just assumed you had seen the Gene Wilder version.
Nope.
You lose! Good
No.
day, sir!
Yeah.
But instead you have this incredibly unique tablet of this canvas of Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and it's also the chance of I can write 200 squirrels sit on stools sorting nuts. I'm I don't have to worry about how to do that. Someone else can train those squirrels, and someone else trained those squirrels to do that. I didn't have to be there. Didn't have to show up. Didn't have to do the thing.
And one Oompa Loompa.
And one Oompa Loompa just.
Who I worked with in Mafia. Deep. What's his name?
Roy. Deep Roy's awesome.
Deep Roy this is the little person who's of Indian descent. He's the Oompa Loompa in Charlie, the only Oompa Loompa, and he also played a small part in Mafia, where a 7-foot priest at Lloyd Bridges, at my wedding, Lloyd Bridges, my father, he opens his robe and goes, "Say hello to my little friend," and Roy Deep steps out between his legs with a little tiny gun. And Roy Deep had the worst. Deep Roy.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Yeah. I could hear the comma that you were putting in there, but yeah.
And Roy, comma. Thank you, John. That was very nice of you to save me there. Deep Roy is one of the filthiest. He's like Bob Saget. He almost has Tourette's. I remember taking a golf cart back to base camp, and he goes, "You big fucking dick, big dick. You fuck, suck, you eat the pussy, you fuck." Nonstop. He had Tourette's almost. And I realized it's one of those things if you feed the fish, they just never stop coming. And I had to make it I'll play grab ass with the best of them. But he's a guy I had to just straight face and just put a wall up and go, "So I don't, what?" And he goes, "Yeah, you motherfucker, you motherfucker." Was he like that on Wonka?
No, not to me at all. No, he was
Something about me.
He's a perfect gentleman to me. So I don't know what it was.
Something about me.
Something about you.
People say to my wife, okay.
Yeah, the weird thing with Deep Roy and Oompa Loompas, part of the reason why you do the duplication of like one guy is that those kids could only work like 3 hours a day, and so you had like the other half of your day you had to like fill with something. So they would do all the musical sequences with Deep Roy in the afternoon. It was literally just production.
But kids didn't play Oompa Loompas. Those were grown up.
No, but I'm saying that the kids in the movie, the kids like who Violet and Augustus and all this stuff. Augustus Gloop, an actual German kid who did not speak English, which was just fun. Just made life extra challenging.
How long after you were completed did you see the Gene Wilder? Was there a part of you was like, I want to see it so bad?
I had to see the Gene Wilder version. So
you had to wait till you were done, right?
Yeah, once I handed it in, then I watched it.
You are a fucking smart guy.
You just watch all the choices made, like where they went left, we went right. It was really strange.
And that was just by providence. Yeah. That's just how it worked out. Yeah. And you must have been. Were there parts of the Gene Wilder that you went, oh, I wish I had done something differently? I have not seen yours. Yeah. Oh. Just so you know, I'm not leading.
You should see mine
I will, but I'm not leading down a road of like you did this wrong, you did that right. No, I have nothing to compare it to.
No, they made different choices about who was really the center of the movie, and to me, like it was a story about this kid Charlie. But once you really got to meet Willy Wonka, Willy Wonka was the kid who was the person who changed over the course of the movie. He was the one who he was this crazy old shut-in who had to learn to let people in. That was the point of my movie, and that was just a very different way than how they did. Gene Wilder's character was sort of perfect already in their version. He didn't have to grow or change or anything. And the kid tries to steal stuff, and it's just a different way of doing the movie.
Spooky, oddly sexy, spooky Gene Wilder.
Yeah,
I thought
and magical. Yeah,
magical, and there's a something dark underneath that only he if he denied it, you wouldn't bring it up again. But there's something dark under all of it. Where there's to me, when I watch the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka, you're like, is he going to murder everybody?
You don't want to cross him,
Yeah, but there's nothing in his performance. It's just something behind Gene's eyes. Yeah. And when he snaps, you lose! Good day, sir! You go, okay, I'm not that far off.
Yeah.
Scratch that. Reverse it.
Also, their factory feels like a real factory. And I knew that we would be able to sort of go much more fantastical. So even the world of Tim's Charlie and Chocolate Factory, like early conversations, like, are we going to set this in the U.S. or in England? Because they sort of split the difference in the book. And he's like, no, we're going to sit in the middle of the Atlantic. And so the cars drive down the middle of the road, so they're not one side or the other. Accents are sort of this neutral, sort of halfway in between. And that's the choice.
So that's sort of like for a guy that discovered writing like War of the Roses and stuff, you were really given like the keys to the kingdom of your own childhood imagination because it was one of your favorite books as a kid.
Absolutely. It's the thing I always wanted to.
Dream job, right?
Dream job.
Is there a job out there that you think is of that caliber to you?
I've gone after some things that have been real goals and hopes and dreams of mine. And sometimes
The Wiz Part 2?
The Wiz Part 2, totally. Like Tarzan, I always wanted to do a Tarzan movie. So
Fuck yeah!
Yeah, so I spent 2 years doing a Tarzan movie, and then Warner didn't make it.
And then you realized Buster Crabbe was dead?
Yeah, he's super dead.
You realized Johnny Weissmuller was just dust?
I pitched this...
Fuck, I'm sorry, my phone.
Yeah, do you know how to turn off an iPhone?
It's fucking Brian Koppelman.
First him.
Who did you have, when you write, do you have a person in mind to play it?
Yeah, back when I was doing Tarzan, it was Diego Luna. He's like a Mexican actor.
Who doesn't want to see that guy flying around the jungle?
Come on. The pitch for mine was that it's a Tarzan story, but it's modern day Africa, so it's civil unrest Africa rather than khaki and pith helmet Africa, which I thought was interesting. And Warner said, yes, we love that. And then after 4 drafts, he said maybe we should set it back in the past. I'm like, 2 years I've been working on this. So that's the frustration of being a screenwriter, is that you can spend a tremendous amount of your time in your life working on stuff that never becomes anything.
Now, is that something that you would want to pick up again at a later date and redo? But they have to do it your way?
I'll never get the rights to it again. So
really? Because you got the juice now.
I got some juice now, yeah.
You got the heat where you can go, I'll only do it if you do it the way I wanted to do it, right?
Some heat, but not enough heat to be able to do that. I can't pick a project I want to do. I have to go in and meet on stuff. They'll send me some stuff, or if there's a piece of talent who really wants me to do something, I'll get called in to work on something for some weeks, but I can't go in and just set up any movie I want to set up. Not at all.
I know you as the most regular, just a sweet neighborhood guy, but then you hook up with Tim Burton and you write the darkest stuff, And then like with Big Fish, you write like this great father-son fantastical bedtime story stuff. Is that just the you before we met? Like where that all comes from? Because the guy I know,
Yeah.
you're like
No.
Richie Cunningham.
Yeah.
To me, you're like I'm
I think
Richie Cunningham.
some of it was deliberately trying not to get pigeonholed because before Go, I got pigeonholed as being the guy who adapts kids' books because the first two projects I got were How to Eat Fried Worms and A Wrinkle in Time, which are both good classic kids'
It's
books.
not on your IMDb page.
No, because they haven't.
Anything.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. I knew
Yeah.
him when he was handing out flyers. He was a street barker for the Boston Comedy Club. He was in a poncho handing out fucking flyers. 2 for 1. Come see live comedy tonight. Do you guys want to see like those guys?
Yeah.
Like I knew him when he was that.
Yeah.
And he said, "I want." And we were friends pre-go. I used to drive to Seal Beach with him to go play basketball with guys that took.
You guys didn't overlap at all because you don't.
No, we didn't work together.
I guess you were. God bless the Miata. That's another reference that doesn't hold up so well now because there aren't Miatas now, so people don't understand like what that car was. I think they crushed them all when they were done. Everyone read. Katie read.
Sarah didn't read.
Sarah didn't read, but she was in Canada.
And her and Doug, did they wind up dating?
They did wind up dating for a while. Yeah, because I remember I wasn't sure they were dating, but then we wrapped Sarah. Like she shot all her stuff, and suddenly she's like hanging around set. I'm like, what are you doing here?
Because they both they're such rebels with causes.
Yeah,
they are like kindred spirits.
Yeah,
Doug's the briefcase that the guy in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square is holding.
Yes, absolutely.
She's the guy.
Yeah.
Doug
is probably in the tank because he built it himself.
I don't even know how I got in the tank. I'm in the tank. He is truly one of the more crazy.
Almost everybody read for that movie. The only people I think who got.
That's how hot I was back in the day.
Yeah.
I actually was offered, which one of these roles would you like to play? Oh, those were the days, John August.
Piven had to read.
Who?
Jeremy Piven.
Oh, he didn't get it, though.
No,
I was like, who did he play?
I think everybody
He was the Miata.
He was the Miata. He played the Miata.
I would say on Twitter, once a week, someone will just tweet, "It's a Miata!"
Yeah.
Exclamation point!
You probably shot some nights together, but you didn't have no scenes together.
No.
You were probably that horrible parking lot at the Santa Monica airport, which was like the bane of our existence.
The one that we reshot 3 times.
3 times.
You kept getting rain in the camera.
Yeah.
Fake rain in your Anton camera.
Go was a tough movie to shoot, and I learned a lot just shooting it, but also learned like not to write movies that are set entirely outdoors at night because that just killed us.
Who had to read for that movie?